Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? It is here. It is finally upon us. Michigan football is here this Saturday. The game is at noon and they are playing Colorado State. Michigan is favored by 30.5 points, and we're about to get into it. But before we talk specifically about Michigan, let's talk about their opponent, Colorado State Rams. The Colorado State Rams are being led by new head coach Jay Norvell, who's coming off a 5-year stint with Nevada. Now, he is no stranger to the Big Ten, actually, because back in the 80s, he was a defensive end for Iowa. While Colorado State is returning their top rusher, don't expect them to be leading their offense with the rush game. Jay Norvell is bringing in his pass-heavy offense, and their team is returning 3 of their 4 top wide receivers. Of course, with this being the first game of 2022, we have to look back to what they were looking like last season. And this team is coming off of a 6-game losing streak. The Rams did only finish with a 3-9 record and went 2-6 for their conference record in the Mountain West. And now we get to switch gears and talk about Michigan football. So one might think that once the games actually start, the quarterback battle might be settled. Wrong. Because that's not what Jim Harbaugh does. And honestly, what he's decided to do is kind of interesting. So Jim Harbaugh has decided to have McNamara start this game against Colorado State. And then next week's game against Hawaii, he's going to have McCarthy start. Honestly, it works out pretty well. I'm not really arguing against it. I don't have a huge problem with it. I just really hope that they make a final decision after that and they stick with it, because switching back and forth a lot is not going to be profitable for anybody. So as long as that happens, I think they'll do fine and everything will be okay. I'm not at practice. I'm not in with the team, so I don't really know what the dynamic is. But they did pretty well with things last year, so I don't think they're going to really screw things up for themselves this year. So time will tell. Now, so much is going to be going on with Michigan football, and I am excited for all of it. But if I had to pick out one thing that I'm the most excited about, it has got to be the return of Ronnie Bell. I am so excited for this guy. He just seems like such an awesome dude and such a great player. I wish him the best in everything. And with this being his return, I would just love to see him have the most amazing game of his life. Now, if I want to switch gears from what's most exciting to probably the thing that's most interesting to me, we're going to be switching to the defensive side of the ball. Because looking at things, Michigan is probably going to have a lot of the same elements offensively this year as they did last year. I mean, they've got the same quarterbacks coming back. They didn't lose as many key offensive players as they did on the defense. And so I feel like the defense is the part that I'm going to be watching the most just to see how it goes. Because the way that I feel about it is if Michigan is able to have the defense perform close to what they did last year, then they have a real possibility at duplicating their great performances and also repeating in potentially their record, because I don't think the offense is really going to skip a beat. Not to take anything away from Haskins. He did a great job and he was just a workhorse, and he did so much for the team last year. But we also saw several players behind him that were going to be able to step in and help fill his position. The defense, there's questions there, on which players are going to step up and in what way exactly. So that's what I'm going to be watching the most come Saturday, is to see who steps up on the defense and how well they look. Of course, it's going to be Colorado State, so it's going to be a little difficult to tell, and then Hawaii's after that. So it'll take a few weeks to really see how they come together, how they get in their groove and things like that. But this first game can be very telling. So that's going to be what I'm going to be watching first and foremost, is the defensive performances. But then besides that, football is a physical sport, and who doesn't love a great defensive performance where they get to lay down some heavy hits? So we'll see who comes out Saturday and who might make the highlight reel for laying down some big hits. So this is kind of going to be a shorter preview. Usually we're going to have a little bit more information that we can share about the opponent and then also do some talking about Michigan performances from the week prior. But here it is. It's week 1 and we can only kind of look at what happened in 2021, which is very different for both teams. So not going to pull in a lot of that information right now, but we're going to move forward with some of our other things as we are ending the episode. First of which is Big Ten Lock of the Week. So this has been a long-standing part where I pick out a Big Ten game of the week and can't be a Michigan game, and I just pick which one I think I'd be most confident in against the spread. So this week actually comes in with the Thursday night game with Minnesota hosting New Mexico State. Like, I don't know if I missed something here, but Minnesota is a 35.5-point favorite. I mean, Michigan themselves are just a 30.5-point favorite. So this is quite a big spread for Minnesota, and not knocking them, but they didn't exactly have the most impressive year last year to make me think that they should have a spread this big for the opening week. And I know New Mexico State isn't anything great, but still, I think that that is going to be my lock, where I do not see the Golden Gophers covering that big of a spread here in week 1. So lock me down for that one. Then, of course, we get to talk about the Michigan football prediction. This is the first one of the year. So excited to get back into this. And so, as I said, Michigan is a 30.5-point favorite over Colorado State at home. I don't think anyone is doubting that Michigan is going to win this game. It's more so how it's going to come down. I'm not expecting anything flashy for Michigan, not this week. It's not really the way McNamara is. And typically that's not usually how Michigan football is. I anticipate for the offense, we're going to see that march down the field, kind of pound it down their throat offense that we've seen previously a lot with Jim Harbaugh, especially with the offensive threats we have at the running back position. But then also, I think the defense is going to have a good performance. To what degree exactly, we'll have to see. But overall, I think everything will work well together. There might be some rust that they need to work through to get everything working smoothly. But I do see a final score of Michigan 45 and Colorado State 6. We'll have to wait and come see Saturday how it actually turns out. Thankfully, it is a noon game because, man, with it being week 1 and being so long since we have seen Michigan football, I do not want to wait until later in the day. I'm ready for a noon kickoff. I hope you all enjoy the game. And if you're actually going to the game, then go have fun and be loud. I don't care what anyone else at the game thinks or says. If you're there to have fun, and you are allowed to be loud. Thanks for hanging out again. And as always, until next time, go blue.